I am still dealing with the issue of every time I start the truck with the fuel pump on, it is running absolutely awful. And then as soon as I turn the fuel pump off, it wants to run fine. So I have a feeling that my fuel return line is my choke point. Let me go ahead and start the truck and show you what I'm talking about. Truck idles absolutely awfully. Turn the fuel pump off. All of a sudden the truck starts realizing how it needs to run. This is why I'm at an absolute loss on this truck. Why is it running with the fuel pump off? What I believe is the problem is this fuel return line right here. As soon as I hit the accelerator, fuel cuts off. Absolutely terrible. What I believe is I have a bottleneck right here. I don't think that this fuel return line is big enough, and it is causing the fuel to continue to surge to the fuel rails instead of bypassing itself back to the tank. So we're going to upsize that from a 6AN line to a 10AN line. We're going to go from that tiny little guy to this big guy, and hopefully going to a bigger line is going to alleviate our problem because I've run out of other possibilities. All right, now we're gonna turn on the fuel pump and see if we got any leaks anywhere. Looks like we are leak-free up here. Now the question is at the back of the tank. And it looks like we are leak-free here at the back of the tank. Let's try and start the truck and see what happens. Well, after all that appeared to be we are on the right track, we're going to have this thing up and running soon, it is now looking like we're pulling the engine. You heard that. It sounds absolutely awful. I think we've got some major rod knock problems, but the engine is not healthy. So we're going to pull it and investigate what's going on. First, I'm going to drain the oil. And I'm going to guarantee I'm going to find sparkle in there. So let's start there. Well, that is one of my worst fears realized. We are getting an insane amount of obviously blow-by because we have fuel in the oil. Sounds like we're getting rod knock. So yeah. Engine rebuild number 2 coming very soon. But this will give me a lot of practice so that hopefully I don't mess up Father Joe's truck when we do the engine swap on this. Alright, just got the intake pulled out, and Monday we will be pulling the whole engine. definitely part of our problem. Yikes. That right there is the problem. Ooh, that was a brand new push rod. Well, we are definitely going to find out what's going on. Just like that, we have the block fully torn down. So it's a 5.3 liter Gen 4 LC9 aluminum block. As you can see, I had previously done exotic head studs, and I had the engine bored out, and so we still have good cross hatching on all of the cylinders from when I had it at the machine shop last. And even that cylinder that had the bent push rod still looks to be okay. Looking over the block looks entirely healthy. This is our Texas Speed Stage 3 low lift cam, and it doesn't appear to be damaged at all. It looks to be in good shape, and all of our pistons basically look brand new. This one's just a little dirty because I dropped it in the oil getting it out of the block. But all the pistons are from Summit, and they all still look good. When I got the block machined out, I sent them with my pistons. They bore matched all of the cylinders to my pistons, so I kept them labeled so they can go right back in the same spot. None of my connecting rods appear to be bent or damaged or anything like that, but we will be going with a set of Summit connecting rods. We've got new piston rings, all new bearings, new spark plugs. I am going to need to get new push rods, so there is that bent push rod that we found when we were pulling everything apart. Here's all of the good ones, as well as I'm going to diagnose if there's any issues with the heads. That's one thing I didn't look into. I had the heads milled, but I did not have them take them apart or anything. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a water test to make sure that none of the valves are leaking. We do have a factory torque converter here, but we're not putting that back in the truck. We will be installing this 3000 to 3200 stall torque converter from Circle D in the truck. Very upset with myself because we missed one bolt in the top of the transmission bell housing to the engine and chipped the bell housing. So I have a new bell housing that I got on order, which is showing up today, so I'm gonna have to swap that on the truck. Not something I wanted to do, but not the end of the world. This is the second time I've pulled the engine and put it back in. I don't know how I missed that bolt. I thought it was just stuck on the little alignment pin, but that's a mistake I made. Next video, I'm gonna put this back on the hoist, get the flywheel off, get the rear main seal off, get that put back together, clean up the block, and we're gonna paint it and start reassembling everything. I will have a link to all the parts that we're putting in the truck down in the description, as well as if you want to go with one of these Alloy Works aluminum radiators, I will have that link down in the description. A lot of people were pretty upset that I didn't show how I installed the turbo kit, so I'm going to be doing a full process install on how I set up my turbo kit, because the kit that I bought, while was 90% ready to go, the last 10% you had to figure out some things on your own. So I'm going to show you how I got all that in the truck in a future video. So if you made it this far, appreciate you being here. If you could, go ahead and check out CaswellCustoms.com and pick up some merch, because rebuilding an engine is not cheap. This is a new shirt that has the truck on the back that is on the site, so if you want to pick that up, go over to CaswellCustoms.com. Appreciate you sticking around to the end of the video. Please like and subscribe, and if you want to see a video of the truck when it was running, click the video right here.